Okay, let's be real. Moving to a new country is a huge deal. And when you're bringing a pet, your family, the stress can just go through the roof. But it really doesn't have to be a nightmare. In this explainer, we're going to break down the official, step-by-step process for bringing your cat or dog to Israel, so the whole journey is as smooth as possible for both of you.
So you're making the big move. And I'm guessing you've probably been online, you've seen a bunch of conflicting advice, and it's just a lot to sort through.
Well, our whole goal here is to cut right through all that noise and give you the official requirements you need for a successful entry. So let's get into it.
Now, before you even think about booking vet appointments or flights, we have to start with the absolute basics. First, does your pet need an import permit? And maybe even more important, is your pet even allowed to enter the country? Getting this part right is the foundation for everything, and I mean everything, that comes next. Okay, this is your first major fork in the road. You can actually be exempt from needing a formal import permit, but, and this is a big but, only if you meet all 4 of these criteria. Not 1, not 2, all 4. You have to be on the same flight as your pet, you can only bring 1 or 2 pets, they have to have been with you for more than 90 days, and they must meet all the health rules we're about to cover. If you miss even one of these, you're automatically on the path to needing an import permit.
And look, some rules are they're non-negotiable. Israel completely prohibits the import of dogs that are considered dangerous breeds. We're talking about pit bulls, Rottweilers, bull terriers, and any of their hybrids. Another absolute deal breaker is cosmetic mutilation. If your pet has cropped eaters or a docked tail just for looks, they will not be allowed in. Period. They'll be sent right back.
And just to cover all our bases here, there are a few special cases. Even if you meet all those exemption criteria we just talked about, if you own a mini bull terrier or a hybrid cat like a Bengal or a Savannah, you still have to go through the import permit process. It's just an automatic requirement for these specific breeds. No way around it.
All right, so once you've cleared those first hurdles, the permit and prohibition checks, it's time to get into the health requirements. You need to think of this as a super strict checklist where the order you do things in is absolutely critical. Let's break it down.
This sequence is everything. It all starts with the microchip. Your pet has to have a 15-digit ISO-compliant microchip. This is the permanent ID, and it must be implanted before anything else happens. Why? Because the rabies vaccine that comes next has to be tied to that specific chip to be considered valid. After that, you'll need a blood test to prove the vaccine actually worked. And then the final step, right before you fly, is getting that official health certificate.
And a really quick but vital note on age. Your pet has to be at least 4 months old on the day they arrive in Israel. This is a common mistake people make, and it can lead to a truly heartbreaking denial of entry at the airport. So please, make sure you plan your timing around this.
Okay, let's demystify this one. The rabies titer test sounds super complicated, right? But all it is a simple blood test. It just gives scientific proof that your pet's body has created enough antibodies to fight off rabies. The lab result has to show a level of 0.5 IU/ml or higher. Anything less than that, and it's not valid for entry. So, to see how this all fits together, here's the timeline. After that first rabies shot, you have to wait at least 30 days before the blood can even be drawn for the titer test. Then, way down the road, that final official health certificate can only be issued within the last 10-day window right before your flight. These waiting periods aren't suggestions, they are mandatory.
Okay, the vet prep is done. You're in the home stretch. Now let's talk about the final administrative hurdle. Getting all your paperwork in order and, most importantly, getting that final green light to actually fly. This, right here, is your critical deadline. All those documents you so carefully prepared, they have to be emailed to the Veterinary Services Office at the airport you're flying into, which for most of you is going to be Ben Gurion, at least 2 full working days before your flight is scheduled to leave.
So what are you actually sending them? Here it is, the master checklist. Take a close look and notice how the documents you need are different depending on whether you're permit exempt or you have a permit. You have to make sure you're putting together the right packet for your specific situation. Now, I'm going to read this next part directly from the official regulations, because it is the single most important instruction in this whole final phase. After you send in your documents, you have to wait. You are waiting for a specific written confirmation from the Israeli Veterinary Services.
Let me say that again because it is that important. This written approval, sometimes they call it the authorization to fly, is your non-negotiable ticket. Do not leave for the airport, don't check in, and you certainly do not board that plane without this confirmation email in your hand.
You made it. The plane is landed, you are in Israel, and your pet is with you. Amazing! But the process isn't quite over yet. What happens next depends completely on whether you came in with an import permit or as a permit-exempt traveler. When you land, you're going to go down one of two very different paths. If you're permit-exempt, you and your pet will come through the regular passenger terminal. Your job is to go straight to the red customs channel and declare that you have a pet. But if you have an import permit, your pet must arrive through the cargo terminal, where they'll be inspected by a government vet before they're released to you. You need to know which path is yours before you land.
And one last little step for all you dog owners out there. As soon as you're clear of the airport, a new clock starts. You have 5 working days to get to your new local municipal office to register your dog and get their official Israeli license.
We are just about done, and I really want to close this out by highlighting why following every single one of these steps so carefully is so important. The consequences for cutting corners or just missing one little step, well, they're serious, and they can be very expensive.
It's the question every single pet owner dreads, right? What happens if I get there and something's wrong with the paperwork? What if my timing was off? What happens then?
Well, the outcomes are not good. Your pet could be sent right back on a plane to where you came from, they could be put into a government quarantine facility, or the authorities could make a different decision on the spot. But here's the most crucial part. No matter what happens, all of the costs, the return flight, the quarantine stay, any treatments needed, all of it is charged directly to you, the owner.
And finally, one last vital piece of advice. While explainers like this one are a great place to start, you have to remember that regulations can and do change. The only official, legally binding version of these rules is the one published in Hebrew on the government's website. Always double-check the official source before you finalize your plans.
You know, at the end of the day, a successful move really just comes down to careful planning and paying attention to the details. This whole process is designed to protect Israel's animals and, honestly, to protect your own pet too. Their journey is entirely in your hands. So, after walking through all the steps, are you prepared?